Welcome to another episode of Inner Voice Joy. Today we are going to discuss the Tao never does anything, yet through it all things are done. Tao Te Ching, chapter 37. This is the spiritual law of least effort. The spiritual law of least effort teaches that when you align with the natural flow of the universe by accepting the present moment, acting with love, and surrendering control, things unfold effortlessly and harmoniously. Let's start with this brief story about Ben. But before I get into it, I invite you to think about how you relate to this material as we go through it. Think about yourself. Share in the comments your ideas about how you may be trying too hard. Participating will increase what you receive from this. And if this material resonates with you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Inner Voice Joy for more personal growth insights. Back to the story. There was once a man named Ben who had a gift for fixing things. Friends and neighbors would come to him with broken clocks, leaky faucets, even tangled necklaces, and somehow Ben would make them work again. But lately, Ben had a bigger problem, a life problem. His business was failing, his relationship was strained, and his back ached from the constant stress of trying to figure it all out. One afternoon, after a particularly tough morning of balancing spreadsheets and biting his tongue during yet another argument with his partner, Ben went for a walk. He wandered to the edge of a small lake, sat down beneath an old willow tree, and stared at the water. His mind was a storm of thoughts. What am I doing wrong? How can I fix this? Why isn't anything working? And then, something strange happened. He watched a duck glide across the lake's surface, leaving behind a perfect V-shaped ripple. The duck wasn't paddling frantically. It wasn't flapping its wings in a desperate attempt to move forward. It just glided, effortlessly, yet somehow it was getting exactly where it needed to go. Ben sat there for a long time, watching the duck and the ripples spreading across the water. It hit him. He'd been trying too hard. Life wasn't a puzzle to be solved. It wasn't something to be forced or controlled. Maybe, just maybe, he could let go and let life carry him, the way the lake carried that duck. That's when Ben stumbled upon the essence of the Tao and the spiritual law of least effort. The Tao never does anything, yet through it, all things are done. This idea can feel counterintuitive, especially if you've been raised to believe that hard work is the only path to success. We live in a culture that glorifies the grind. Early mornings, late nights, pushing through exhaustion to reach the top. But the Tao teaches something entirely different: ease, flow, and surrender. The Tao, or the Way, is the natural order of the universe. It's the quiet intelligence behind the changing seasons, the rising and setting of the sun, the effortless growth of a tree reaching toward the sky. When we align ourselves with the Tao, life unfolds naturally. There's no need to force, no need to struggle. Just like the duck on the water, we glide toward our goals when we stop fighting the current. But how do you actually live this way when the world seems designed to pull you into chaos? Let me break it down. Accept. What is? The first step is acceptance. Most of our suffering comes from resisting reality, wishing things were different, replaying the past, or obsessing over the future. But the Tao teaches that life becomes easier when we stop fighting what is. Let's say you're stuck in traffic. You can grip the steering wheel, curse the cars around you, and stew in frustration. Or you can turn on your favorite music, take a deep breath, and surrender to the fact that you'll get there when you get there. Acceptance doesn't mean you like the situation. It just means you stop giving it the power to steal your peace. Act without forcing. This one sounds tricky, but it's not. Acting without forcing means taking inspired action, not frantic, desperate action. When you're aligned with the Tao, you take steps that feel natural and easy, not forced or stressful. Think about a conversation where you're really in the flow. The words come easily, the connection feels effortless. Now compare that to a conversation where you're trying too hard, planning your next sentence, trying to impress, overthinking every word. The difference is flow. One feels effortless, the other feels like work. Acting without forcing means trusting that the right actions will present themselves at the right time. It's following that gentle inner nudge, rather than forcing yourself to figure it all out at once. Do less, accomplish more. This might sound like lazy person propaganda, but it's one of the deepest truths of the Tao. The more we push and struggle, the more resistance we create. When we relax and allow things to unfold, we often accomplish more with less effort. It's like trying to untangle a necklace. If you pull and tug at the knots, you tighten them. But if you relax, breathe, and gently work with it, the necklace loosens and untangles almost on its own. When Ben stopped micromanaging his life and started trusting the flow, things started falling into place. His business started picking up, not because he pushed harder, but because he relaxed and made space for new opportunities to show up. His relationship improved because he stopped trying to control every outcome and started listening. And his back pain? Gone. Let go of the outcome. This is the ultimate key. We create so much stress by clinging to specific outcomes, thinking we'll only be happy if we get the promotion, if the relationship works out, if we reach a certain income. But the Tao teaches that true peace comes when we release attachment to outcomes. It's like planting a seed. You don't sit there yelling at it to grow. You plant it, water it, and trust that it will sprout when it's ready. Life works the same way. Plant your intentions, take aligned action, and trust the process. Here's where a bit of humor comes in. Imagine the duck on the lake suddenly deciding it needs to get across the water faster. So it starts flapping its wings wildly, honking at the other ducks, and panicking about the distance to the shore. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's basically how most of us live. The duck gets where it's going because it trusts the water. We get where we're going when we trust life. So how do you apply this in everyday life? It's not about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about acting from a place of peace and trust, rather than fear and control. If something feels forced, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I pushing or flowing? If you're pushing, step back and reconnect with your inner calm. Ben didn't quit his job and live in a hut by the lake. He kept showing up for his work, but he did it with a different energy. One of trust, ease, and flow. He let go of needing to know how it would all work out, and started trusting that it would. And guess what? It did. That's the magic of the Tao. When you align with the natural rhythm of life, things have a way of working out better than you could have planned. You don't have to figure out the whole path. Just take the next step that feels right and let the current carry you the rest of the way. The Tao never does anything, yet through it, all things are done. So what's one thing in your life that feels forced right now? What would happen if you stopped pushing and started trusting? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Our Inner Voice. Joy for more insights on flowing with life and finding your true path. Until next time, trust the flow.